Alright, before this video starts, I'll say this and this alone. Do not, I repeat, do not go after Moondisc or Sonic93, regardless of whether or not you believe they deserve it. Do not harass, attack, witch hunt, troll, or send any type of acid treat towards Moon or Ruth. If you choose to do so, that's on you. Your actions will have consequences.
When will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences?
I strongly do not condone any acid treat of any kind towards these two, no matter what. Once again, if you choose to do so, that's on you. And now, onto the video. Hey pups, Arp here. So, remember my Don't Be video on Sonic93 way back when it was supposed to be up about a month or 3 after the Sonic93 drama finally died down? Yes, I know, I'm slow. Let me go on my own pace with these things. Apparently caught the attention of someone by the name of Moondisc and decided to collaborate with the one and only Sonic93 herself, the alleged queen of the lolcows and creepy silver simpers. I mean, I'm a striker simp, but at least I know the meaning of self-control. And if what I post or say about Striker in a video or on social media gets a laugh or two out of people and deems me a lolcow, I honestly don't care. I love the character and will till the day I die. Speaking of, seeing as it's the new year at the time I'm scripting this, and with the new year comes New Year's resolutions, two of the big ones I have are learning not to worry so much about what people think. So if the random shit I say or post online deems me a lolcow, once again, I don't care if it gives the person behind the computer or phone screen entertainment, and they want to milk me for laughs. By all means, do whatever makes you happy and brings you joy, even if others find it meaningless, dude. The second being not to take shit, especially lying down. I've never been taking people's shit in the first place, but also avoid confrontation like the plague, because the last thing I need as a grown-ass adult with more problems than a high schooler's math homework is unnecessary drama. But learning to stand up for myself more often and call out people on their bullshit is something I've been meaning to do for a while now. And seeing as nobody made a response to the video in question, and seeing the comments on the Don't Be video on Sonic93, whom I will be calling Ruth throughout this video because that is her actual name, have been flooded about how bad it was and how Ruth never changed for the drama of 2019 in the first place. Or was it 2018? Who cares at this point? I might as well do the deed and see how bad the video was in the first place. For starters, this is all mostly geared towards Ruth and not Moondisc. No shade towards him or them, he, they, the person in question. I don't know their preferred pronouns. Though, I highly recommended you check out their videos on Jane, formerly known as Akai, Aaron A, formerly known as Princess Elizabeth 013, Dumbsville, and more in regards to their involvement with Ruth. Once again, don't go after Moondisc or Ruth. It's not worth it in the end, trust me. That being said, let's get started.
Okay, first off, I'm a little confused when you start to mention Amy-chan. Are you referring to us still being friends to this day, or we were friends when we made the rant videos? Like, it's off to a really bad start to not clarify the current status of our friendship. I know that you did it later on in the video, but it's still poorly executed to not do it right away when introducing someone. Secondly, regarding Jane and Yoshi1, I wouldn't say we made multiple rants on them, especially on Yoshi since we only did 2 videos of him, but we're planning on making a 3rd one. And with Jane, the multiple videos on her were never planned. It just happened. Either way, I wouldn't call it multiple on her either, since originally it was up from 7 to 9 videos due to her creating more drama after we plan on stop doing more. And furthermore, neither me nor Amy said she was a boy crazy for Supersonic and Shadow. I don't know why you even thought of saying Supersonic instead of just Sonic, and we were only explaining her feelings and treatment towards them. And lastly, and I can't stress this repetitive narrative enough, Amy was the one to claim that Yoshi1 could be the next Paul and Amy, and if he actually cared enough to watch the entire 2 videos of him, she was the one whom addressed that subject during almost the entire part 2 video. I barely had anything to say on the matter.
I really think this guy is the next Paul and Amy. For those of you who don't know who Paul was, he was a follower of probably the most infamous Sonic-obsessed person ever, Alex Henriel. And just like Yoshi, he was so deeply obsessed with Amy to the point where it got so bad, he believed that he was actually married to Amy and had 2 kids with her, even though he said he knew the difference between fiction and reality. But then years later, he had raped 5 young girls between the ages of 3 and 8, and currently, the guy is in jail. For more information on him, go check out the video made by the Blackbuster critic, who is now known as Blackbuster Show. He explains everything that there is to know about Paul. So if Yoshi is this bad now, how do you think he'll be in a few years? What would happen if Yoshi meets a girl cosplaying as Amy? Or just any girl for that matter? Because according to Paul's court document, Paul had lured these girls into his room, making them think they were just going to play computer games. And Paul himself had said this: "I don't know why I did it. The opportunity was there. I betrayed their trust." You see what I mean? With Yoshi's obsession for Amy being this bad, who's to say he won't do the same by luring any girl or a cosplayer with a lie?
And I might add, it had nothing to do with him having autism or Asperger's.
Okay, one, appreciate the correction in regards to the introduction of you and Amy-chan. That was a mistake on my part. Probably should have clarified that a bit more in the beginning and saying that was Amy, who was the one who deemed Brandon as the next Paul and Amy. But, I mean, I still felt like as if you agreed with that statement regardless, but that's not really important right now. Still, I appreciate the correction upon my mistakes there. And 2, even if the 2, 3, or 7 out of 11 or 12 videos on Akai weren't planned, they really didn't need to happen in the first place. 1 rant? Sure. 2 rants? Maybe. 3 rants? I mean, alright, but 3 would be enough! 11 to 12 is just too much! Honestly, that is very exhausting, just by saying that and that alone. And while it is good, and by that I mean extremely good, that Brandon didn't become the next Paul and Amy, thank Arceus for that, you still felt as if Brandon was creepy and weird, and yes, while him having autism doesn't excuse what he said and did back when he used to be on DeviantArt, the videos you and Amy made on him kinda didn't help matters in the long run either. Also, I remember in your videos on Brandon that you said you'd rather have a rapist rather than a shallow pervert for a boyfriend. That's still kinda bad, in my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not saying you should. But I just feel uncomfortable with that statement. I mean, if it were up to me, and if I had to choose between a character like Valentino from Hazbin Hotel, who is not only a pimp, but also a rapist himself, or Chadwick Thurman from Helluva Boss, who is basically a pervert. I'm not gonna lie, he is a pervert. I would definitely go with my adorable shark boy, rather than Stinky Mothman. And in my belief, and in my opinion, all Brandon was a socially awkward autistic kid who may or may not have been sheltered or traumatized, and tried to find solace in the Sonic fandom, and felt comfort in the Son-Amy ships, and Amy being his comfort character. But hey, it's just a theory on my part. And Brandon may have not been taught how to speak or act appropriately towards people, mainly how he spoke about women. Again, it was weird and creepy and shallow, but at least he wasn't a rapist like Paul and Amy. And I know this is a bit of a taboo subject, but at least he had the common decency to age up Amy Rose in his own personal AU/fantasy or whatever. Jane, on the other hand, yeah, among all the videos prior to the 3 videos before the others that eventually came out over time that y'all made on her, this could be from my perspective and my perspective alone. The fact that y'all got on her ass in regards to her OC being shipped with Sonic, Shadow, both or either of the 2, her hatred for Amy Rose, seems to me like y'all just rated on her for that as well as the comics she posted as well, more so than her behaviors and the things she said and done in the past. And this is probably a mentally unwell individual trying to cope and want to draw one or more of their comfort characters. Granted, her behavior was questionable, as well as the things she posted and drew in regards to her downward spiral, but the videos you guys made on her didn't help matters for her either. Do I believe Jane should have been called out for her behaviors and seemingly ungratefulness towards the fan artists she would post a simple thanks to while singing the praises of others whom supposedly seemed to be close friends of hers or were her favorite artists, as well as Brandon for his socially awkward and possibly Christian-esque behaviors? Yes. Do I believe Jane should have had 12 rant videos in regards to the internet drama she was in back in the late to mid 2010s, as well as Brandon despite having 2 or 3 videos made on him, but got so much hate for it because nobody simply sat down and tried to get it through his head to get him to stop his weird, almost neckbeard-like behaviors? No! I feel like the 3 videos on Brandon practically encouraged trolling and bullying towards him, only further ostracized him from the internet and real life in general. Jane didn't deserve that either. Yeah, the behavior should have been called out, but 11, 12, 13 videos on a single person is too damn much. Again, 3 rant videos on her would have been enough. And yes, calling out a person's behaviors is 100% necessary if they're acting like Chris Chan or Lyle Convoy for Christ's sake. But if it's almost to the extent of knowingly or unknowingly sending the possible harassment towards the person, despite what they said and done, to isolate them further from the community, both online and IRL, it's not okay. Also, keep in mind that Brandon is going to therapy now because of the trauma due to how harshly those videos made on him were, along with even worse backlash from Sonic93 fans and followers. Believing people like Brandon and Jane are just horrible and irredeemable individuals in general. Like, Christian levels of bad? No! They were just people doing their own thing. Yes, they should have been called out for their behaviors and how they treated everyone around them, but 11 or 12 videos and not even addressing to your fan base that you do not condone harassment of any kind is more than uncalled for if you ask me.
You're making it sound like I was only bothering Jane, and yes, I also refer her as Jane since she prefers to be called that way, and bashing her because of her so-called multi-shipping even though she mainly ships herself with Sonic and Shadow, and her hating on Amy wasn't a big deal when back then she non-stop showed just how much she hates Amy Rose, mainly as Alduin stated in her video on me, it gets in the way of her shipping, meaning because of Son Amy and Shat Amy. The point on the rant series was to never harass her, only to call her out on her behavior, as people are saying the same thing to me, right? So what gives? How am I being in the wrong for doing something that made me likable from the start?
Now, I do agree with that. Jane did go a little too far with her hate on Amy Rose because of it getting in the way of her ship. That's like with me saying I hate Stella because there's a ship between her and Stryker called Strella, and it gets in the way of my ship Strixie, which is a ship between Stryker, my imp son of Pixie Feathers, so therefore I hate the character. That's not necessarily a valid reason to hate the character. I'm going off topic for a bit here to hopefully clarify what I'm trying to say. Hate a character all you want, but if there's a ship between the character you hate and a character you like that quote-unquote gets in the way of your ship, I somewhat understand, but don't at the same time, if that makes sense. Plus, there's other reasons why I hate Stella. Not that Stella is quote-unquote in the way of my ship, which is not, I can promise you all that. I hate Stella because she's an abusive narcissistic wife towards Stolas, constantly insulting and abusing him, verbally, physically, and sexually, as it was implied in the circus episode, if that counts, and an abusive and neglectful mother towards Octavia, as you see when she takes her phone away when Stolas tries to call his daughter, and even hired Stryker to kill Stolas. Not only is she a narcissist, she's also a fucking sociopath! While the rant series on Akai did make you likable from the start, at the same time, the internet was geared more towards those with the same thought as you were, and times were much different back then, rather than they are right now. The internet was way more Puritan back then, people. Again, I agree with making a rant or a call-out post on someone in regards to their behavior, but after a video or 2 more, and as the series went on, I felt as if it was more about her obsession with Sonic/Shadow X self-insert, or OC, and her admittedly, unnecessarily, but valid in her own weird way, hatred towards Amy Rose, rather than her behaviors. Again, you and Amy-chan did call out her behaviors towards her followers and her simple thank you comments on fanart, while singing the praises of others she seemed to love more, which is a good thing, but as the videos went on, it felt less like a call out. It felt less like a call out and more like an ew, can an ex self-insert and polygamy marry Sue shit troll fest. I'm not saying Ruth and Amy were trolls, but it's the best way I can describe it. Also, let's not forget the fact that you also have or had a hate boner for Blaze the cat once upon a time because she was shipped with Silver. At least that's what it seemed like to my knowledge, of course.
But the fan base is literally acting like she's a goddess. People mainly love her because she's a cat, purple, and has pyrokinesis. Has way too many fanboys that back when I was on DA, I had literally 5 friends or even more who loved Blaze, and all of them were guys too. I constantly see people saying how hot and sexy she is, how she's their favorite character everywhere. Blaze is technically more overrated than a Mary Sue, but I still count her as a Mary Sue for the fanbase because of how they treat her like she's a goddess.
Don't touch him!
I'll take it.
Yeah, I said it. It's my first time saying this, so have mercy on me. Oh, he looks so cute when he's confused. And Blaze, would you stop saying it's a bad thing?
I've always liked that about you.
Oh, see, you like that he's naive. So do I, but I don't say like it's a bad thing all the time.
What's wrong?
I wish I could be in Blaze's place right now.
Well, Blaze? To kill someone to save the world.
He's so sweet.
Is that really the right thing to do?
Oh, adorable.
You're so naive.
Shut up! Leave him alone!
Whether
How can I bash Yoshui-1 for being a Sanemi fanboy when I stated I was offended as a Sanemi fan for him showing just how over-obsessive he was with the pairing? He compared the pairing to his personal beliefs, excessively compared also to the show Hey Arnold with how Helga treated Arnold throughout the show, and even went so far to bash Ian Flynn, the writer of the Sonic Archie comics, because there was no Sanemi in it before the entire comic franchise got rebooted. Where's the bashing coming in the picture?
Well, I'll give her that one. But saying you were quote-unquote offended as a Sanemi fan was what I'd call bashing. Saying you're offended as an insert character or pairing from a fandom here, fan, and the tone of voice really shows quite a lot. I mean, be offended all you want, I'm not trying to stop you from it. And again, Brandon's obsession was odd, but let's keep in mind that Brandon is autistic and was probably sheltered growing up, especially if he was growing up as an autistic person in a conservative Christian household and had those morals and beliefs imprinted on his mind. In regards to the Helga and Arnold thing from Hey Arnold, it's more of a bully has a crush type of thing rather than something related to Sanemi. Those who grew up watching the show should know that Helga had a broken life growing up. Not broken as in poor. She had a roof over her head and everything, but Helga was overshadowed by her parents in favor of her older sister, Olga, aka the Golden Child. Arnold was the only one who was nice to her, and when she started falling in love with him, she was made fun of for it, and started projecting the bullying onto everyone else. And there were episodes where Helga was nice and helped Arnold, possibly in anonymity, such as the Christmas episode where Mr. Wang and his daughter finally reunite after so long, prior to the Jungle movie, obviously. However, comparing Sanemi to Helga Arnold is obviously strange on Brandon's part, as well as comparing it to Christianity, but it was how you came off and the tone of voice you projected in regards to how offended you claimed to be. My tone, for example, is what I considered calm, but also serious, while at the start, I seemed to come off as condescending, confident, and a bit snarky to add a little spice, all while joking a bit. It's how my tone came off at the beginning, but went from 100 to 0 during the scripting process. And watching the response video in real time. Your tone of the Yoshui 1 and Akai videos as the Akai rant series went on for a period of time, came off as offended, yes, but it also came off as standoffish, condescending, and angry all throughout those videos. Very angry if you ask me. And to this day, it's still very unknown to me, and quite possibly the rest of us, if that was you putting on a persona, or you're really as unhinged IRL as you were in the rant videos you made a very long while back. Again, a lot of people who started off in the SCC, ACC, ranting, etc., whatever you want to call it, looked up to people like you and Amy during the early years of the ranting/commentary community from its infancy. Looking back on those videos now, they aren't all that good as they appear to be on the surface. Now that the roasted glasses were cracked or came off on those who were a part of the ranting/commentary community, they saw how bad the rants you and Amy made on Jane and Brandon were.
Oh my goodness. Once again, what are you referring to? What has Amy quote-unquote grown up and been matured from? From making rant videos with me? Or do you mean the aftermath of the drama? I'm not following with what you're trying to say here. All I'm hearing is the same old, Amy's better than Sonic93, Amy handled this whole situation maturingly, and did nothing wrong, yada, yada, yada.
Again, I'll give her that one. I do word myself poorly, and if I had an editor, I would have said Amy moved on from ranting after the dramas regarding Brandon, Jane, and Aaron had finally died down, yada yada yada, etc, etc. I could agree with her on that. Honestly, that's just a valid critique I have there. I have a tendency to word myself in a way people don't really understand what I'm trying to say, but I am trying to improve on that. Again, if I had an editor or looked over the script more closely, I would have worded what I said about Amy growing up and moving on from ranting in a different way than what I said in that video. I will give Ruth props for having valid critiques in regards to the video in question. Sadly, I am a she-they army of one and can't afford a team to help me make my videos. If people helped me out for free, I would feel bad and would feel better if they had some form of payment. Unfortunately, for a lot of you out there who say, I need a team to help me on content creation, I kind of feel as if I'm better off as my own editor, artist, and boss for the time being.
I just love how people keep stating the same narration of me being controlling, manipulative, abusive, and even possessive towards Amy. Yet, here's the thing. If the so-called red flags were already there according to Amy, why didn't she cut ties with me then? How come she never ever established all those things to me? Not to mention, why did she beg me not to leave her? It was not the other way around. And by the way, someone who is so-called possessive and abusive tends to not want to let the other person go, right? So, has it ever occurred to you of why I cut ties with Amy in the first place?
That's not how toxic friendships work, honey. Yeah, there are different kinds of toxic friendships, but yours with Amy was one that began when you two were teenagers. Ripe young ages of 13, if memory serves, from yours and Amy's Q&A videos. Obviously it wasn't toxic back then, but as time went on, during the interview Amy had with Dumbsville, she stated that you went to her about Melody criticizing Silver's character while being a Silver fangirl herself. You seemed pretty butthurt about it, and Amy felt like it was basically a nothing burger, and that's like me seeing a person criticizing Stryker's character while being a Stryker fan themselves, going to my friends and rant and vent about it and ask them to collaborate with me to make a rant video on them, and they see me being mad about this as a nothing burger to them. It's the same thing no matter what fandom you're in or what character you like. And if I were as done with them as you were with Amy and cut ties with them, and they were begging me not to leave, I would have to rethink my whole entire life and life choices by the end of my non-existent online career as a content creator, bro. Also, you know what? I'm gonna play the clips in the interview with Amy and Dumbsville.
I don't remember what she said. I think she said call me or something. Like, I don't remember how it started. But, we were starting a voice call and Gmod muted himself so she wouldn't hear him, but he was able to hear everything, so he witnessed this, basically. As soon as I hit the button to answer the call, as soon as I could hear her, the first thing I hear is screaming.
Oh, fuck.
Oh.
As soon as I answer that call, she's screaming.
Oh, no.
Oh, jeez.
And she's screaming, and she's back to calling me a backstabber, and, you know, going on how she can't trust me or whatever. Like, it's bad. Like, the way she was, like, you know how she screams in her videos? Like, imagine that, but worse.
Jeez.
And more angry.
Oh my god.
We had arguments over things, but it didn't get to this point. It didn't get to the point where she was literally screaming and calling me all these names, and it didn't get this bad. Like, this is the worst she's ever been towards me. I was saying, I'm so sorry. I was saying, I shouldn't have done this. I was saying anything I could to make her stop, pretty much. But it wasn't working. She wasn't having it.
That's insane.
And, you know, at the very end, like, I was still pretty fucked. It was still going on, and, you know, when she finally stopped screaming, she was still angry, but she stopped screaming. She was like, she was done. She ended the friendship right there. She said, I can never trust you again after this. Like, and she just said goodbye and shut the call off.
So does Sonic93 have a grudge against your boyfriend? If so, did she have a grudge before all this started?
She 100% does.
Against Gmod Spartan, who I have never spoken to before, by the way.
She's made it clear she hates him.
For what reason? Just for taking you?
When we first got together, like, she was actually cool with it, and like it was all good. Like, they didn't talk too much, but they did a few times here and there, and, you know, they got along fine. It was fine. Like, Gmod even supported our friendship. Like, I thought it was all good, but then later on, she started accusing me of, like, spending more time with him than her, and she was accusing me of replacing her with him. She just, out of nowhere, just started hating him.
That's definitely weird.
When he didn't even do anything to her.
That's definitely weird.
It got... I mentioned our friendship was rocky at this point. Like, around the time I was with him for a while and I got a job and everything, that's when it went really downhill.
That sounds like she's very clingy and protective as well. Like, that's really bad as well.
I was gonna say, that gives off vibes of, like, almost like a control freak. She wants everything her way, or it's or for lack of a better term, it's the fucking highway. Like,
right, like, I constantly had to tell her, look, I'm not going out of my way to spend more time with him than you are. It's just, you know, I don't have as much free time as I used to when we were younger. I can't get enough time to talk to you every day like I used to. We were talking one day, and we were actually doing a video call at the time. So, I can't remember if she brought it up or something, but she was wearing makeup. And then that she said she didn't do very often, but she just felt like wearing some, and I was like, okay. So, we were talking about it, and she actually said to me, do you think Silver would like it?
What? What?
Whoa.
I mean,
he's a fake character. Oh, yeah, baby. Let me see your makeup. I'm a fake fictional headshot.
Pretty self-explanatory there. You were an extremely angry person then, and you still were even after the dramas that involved Jane and Brandon were long since over. Amy had moved on from ranting and started her own life, started dating a person you were weirdly jealous of because Gmod Spartan was apparently what you claimed to be quote-unquote stealing Amy away from you. If that ain't jealousy and controlling, I don't know what is. And the fact that you screamed and yelled at her and still sounded angry after you were done and finally cut ties with her and cut her off entirely, it's just, that is showing your true colors and the mask coming off entirely. Not to mention that you started acting like the people you hated and ranted on, aka Jane and Brandon, asking things like, would Silver like it if I wore makeup like this? Dude, have some self-control. And if you don't want to act like the people you hate and have unnecessary grudges with, then don't fucking act like them. And if you didn't want that out in the public, then maybe you should have kept it to yourself. I'm just saying.
Wait, on how did she ruin her reputation as a human being?
Oh my god!
Do you really want to know how she ruined her reputation? Alrighty then. I'ma spell it out for ya. Getting mad at a then 13, or was it 14, 15, an alleged teenager about a character they were a fan of, while critiquing their characteristics, and made an entire video regarding said teenager. Alleged teenager. You could say Melody wasn't an innocent little angel all you want, but they were still a teenager, while Ruth is a grown-ass woman getting mad at a teenager's opinion on a character they liked. Ruth ain't the instant saint she claims to be either. Again, watch and listen to the interview Dumbsville had with Amy Chan, and the truth shall floweth forth. Yeah, I barely even know these people at all, but if you ask me, I'd rather take the word over a victim with a consistent story, rather than the toxic friend who threw said ex-friends under the bus, a multitude of times with one of them, I might add.
Who are you talking about?
Now, you put plural, as in more than one person. If you only put singular, I would immediately assume you're referencing Dumbsville, because back then, that was the main issue people had when it came to me and him. That I was betraying him, throwing him under the bus, and I had plans on backstabbing him. Other than him, the statement is really vague. Of whom else have I been betraying their trust?
Okay, I'm starting to see a problem with my speech patterns and the way I word things. That aside, I was not only referring to Dumbsville about how you backstabbed him and Amy Chan for how much of a toxic and controlling friend you were when your true colors started showing, and how you want to make a rant video in regards to Melody and her criticizing Silver as a character she also likes, mind you, but others whom you considered friends as well. The artist who made your admittedly cool-looking sprites at the time you made those newer videos, Super Sprite 65, was another one of those people, if I'm correct in saying so. And let's not forget your other former friend, Draco, whom confirmed what you are like behind the facade you've put up behind your channel. Need I also remind you of how many times you threw Amy Chan under the bus?
One of the biggest reasons is that I got lack of, if not even any, support from Amy, which caused the drama to escalate without a proper solution.
Enough said, right? Also, since you censored out the screenshots, whether it was accidental or purposefully is up for debate, we don't really see the full conversation about the discussion, or whether or not you should have made a video on Melody Sugar Plum. Hell, if you just left it be and not started shit like that in the first place, none of this would have happened, right? But you just had to act like one of those fans because they dare criticize your precious husbando because you're always right no matter what, right? Like, if you said the sky is green and the grass is blue, and someone came up to you and said, no, you're incorrect and here's why, and you start yelling and screaming at them, that causes a chain reaction regardless of the things you've said and done. Gee, just like how you try to start shit with Melody Sugarplum and your former friends like Amy Chan and Dumbsville, because not only did they disagree with you about how right you were about protecting your husbando and calling Melody a fake fan and gatekeeping her and trying as hard as you could to prove yourself in the right, and they started to see the person you truly were behind the mask.
This is the reason why I named my first mini rant series video The Moment of Truth. Melody is not as innocent as she is made out to be. Because the constant victimization of everyone involved in the drama is either completely false or just exaggerated. In both Valak and especially Melody's case, as Moondisk states, Valak was not even once involved in the drama despite him being the victim of not sharing the same opinion of Silver as Sonic93 and giving him valid critiques. His video I originally talked about and his channel is nowhere to be found. And with Melody Sugarplum, it was the whole she's a minor and got screamed by an adult in a nutshell. But the things people stated, Melody never felt those things. In fact, she proved my point by harassing other people who actually liked Silver. And my point was, she was never a Silver fan to begin with. And her hate on him never initiated because of me. It was, according to her, because of the Archie comics. So, how did I exactly mentally mess them up? Also, I love how you say Sonic fans instead of Silver fans because, again, that was the main problem in the first place.
Well, Melody wasn't innocent, and she has a right to criticize a character based on whatever it was that made her not like him as much, or not become a Silver fan anymore. Did that really warrant and trigger you so badly to make a video ranting about the person in question? If it did, then your behavior and how you acted towards these people and those who watched it, being naive sheeple, they would have gone to war with people like Jane, Brandon, and Melody, and would go out of their way to harass, bully, troll, and just overall be a complete nuisance to them so badly that if they took things too far, the effects on them mentally could be damaging. You especially, considering you made videos and just yelled and screamed at them for the most minor and minuscule of things. Like, if I were to make a video criticizing Silver the Hedgehog way back when, and you still had your channel up, girl, you would have come at me like a rabid animal, like you did with Melody. Screaming into a microphone to defend your favorite character is just depressing and quite concerning if you ask me. And once again, I'm a Striker simp and Striker/Chaz apologist. Again, she was a minor. Allegedly. You are an adult woman. An adult woman that went after a minor. Does nobody see anything wrong with this? Is this real life? Am I in the freaking Twilight Zone right now?
Not only are there a bunch of lies and extremely typical things I have seen people say to the ones who are hated on the internet, I can't help but sense a contradiction to the whole if you get better, by all means, you can return on YouTube for a fresh start. I thought you said I'm gonna get backlash regardless. Now, don't get me wrong, you're not wrong about that. However, it does sound like you're trying to encourage me to return if I so-called improved, and you and everyone else would welcome me back with opened arms. Which in reality, I am fully aware that it's false and it just makes your point invalid, and not to mention, you couldn't care less about me and my struggles throughout the whole drama if you say that you wish me the best, yet believe I'm the worst human being to ever exist on this planet.
Okay, along with my speech and incorrect wording, I'm also seeing another problem with me and contradiction. But glad you agree with that. Also, but Here's the thing. Yes, you do claim that I don't care what struggles and misfortunes you have had beyond your personal life. That doesn't mean I don't want you to improve and work on yourself and at least take care of yourself, or have someone be there for you to help you in the long run, even if you don't want their help. And I don't mean get a job outside of the internet. I mean work on yourself in general. You want to get healthy? Eat healthy foods and exercise more to feel good. Want to work on how you interact with people and socialize? Maybe watch the videos and reflect on your actions based on how you treat people to improve on how you behave both IRL and online, and hopefully try to work to improve those broken friendships. Want to stop your bad behavioral habits? Seek a therapist. And yes, while I did say you're a terrible person, that automatically doesn't mean I don't think you're not capable of improvement, like Lyle Convoy, for example. Unless you don't see anything wrong with what you said or did in the past, then you're still capable of improvement. You have to want it, and not just need improvement. Lyle doesn't want improvement either way. He needs it, he doesn't want it. Not sure how you feel about it, but I can tell you need it. But if you want it, go for it. If you don't, then there's nothing I can do for you, girl. And yeah, it does sound like I'm encouraging you to turn if and when the time is right, and if you feel like you should. If you aren't ready or just want to leave that life behind, it's entirely up to you. If you want to return with a fresh start and leave the life you had behind when you first started YouTube, that's up to you, and I'm honestly all for it. But there's a laundry list of things you have to want that you need before such. Improving on yourself in general, and start apologizing to those whom you've hurt personally, such as Amy-chan for being a shitty friend and constantly throwing her under the bus after you cut ties with her, and you seem to be her only friend and one that she needed during whatever she was going through at the time, and you decided to up and leave her because you were mad about some petty bullshit. One that didn't matter in the slightest, by the way. Making a pact with yourself to treat others the way you want to be treated, such as killing them with kindness, not making videos like the one with Melody being a supposed quote-unquote silver hater, and just gatekeeping the entire community because they don't fit your opinions, or I don't know, something like that. And to not act like how you had been in the past with so many people you've cut ties with and have made rant videos on, and to not be a hypocrite all the time. Again, I do think you're a bad person. I don't think you're irredeemable or incapable of improvement. You need it, but you have to want improvement to get better. And if you decide to come back to YouTube and start fresh, that's all up to you. It's not up to me. Side note, I feel like you should have made a quick video explaining as to why you were leaving in the first place, such as the following. Hey guys, this is my final video. Because of the drama, I'm gonna step away and retire from the internet, or something along those lines. Just so your followers and subscribers can hopefully understand your side of the story a little bit better without going into detail. Or maybe you did do that, and I either don't remember, cause my memory's shit, or I'm a fucking idiot.
That sounds good, nice and dandy, but I gotta say that statement has a flaw. And the main flaw is, what grudges have I been holding? Like, this is the third time you're establishing something without elaborating what you're referring to. Are you talking about Dumpsville? Are you talking about Amy? Or Melody Sugarplum? The key question is, who are you referring to?
All of them. Dumpsville, Amy-chan, Melody Sugarplum, Jane, Brandon, literally anyone who you either cut ties with or made a rant video on. Granted, my points and lessons at the end of the Don't Be Sonic93 video, any of my Don't Be videos aren't directed towards anyone in general in regards to that question, if that's what you're referring to, and implying that I should say whom you've held grudges against. The points I make are basically lessons to be learned from the infamous person in question. For example, my video in regards to Chris-chan. One of the lessons at the end of the video was don't feed the trolls, ignore them. A lesson Chris had never once learned in his life. Some of us had to learn the don't feed the trolls lesson the hard way. The phrase don't feed the trolls is basically what it sounds like, metaphorically speaking. The classic internet slang of to not respond or to engage with disruptive, attention-seeking behavior online. Yes, it's a poor excuse to ignore cyberbullying, cyberstalking, cybercrimes in general, but things like the block button and taking a step away from the internet is a thing too. Taking a break from social media is honestly a breath of fresh air sometimes, something Christian never did or learned, and learning you don't always have to get the last word in, and thinking about how you should respond to a troll. Unless they're cyberstalking and or doxing you, or committing some type of cybercrime, then you gotta get the police involved.
I beg to differ because a lot of people were thrilled that I left. And before, I had thoughts on leaving around 2 to 3 months before finishing a Dumzo video as a sign of me moving on from the drama. And I know you said you don't understand of me wanting a closure, but that was the main reason why I left. I achieved it and didn't feel the need to stick around the drama any longer. And that you stated, moving on from it. And P.S. If I never left, Amy would have never had the guts to return on the platform. You know, the one you claim she was so bold, brave, and moving on from all the things she's been through with me. I don't think she ever would have gotten to that point if I was still around, so you're very welcome that my sudden disappearance was beneficial to Amy-chan and the haters as well.
I mean, you're right. I'm gonna give y'all that much. Granted, you decided to return in a collaboration with Moondisc to react to this video because... why? Y'all going after smaller channels like mine and not someone like Just a Robot, for example? Honestly, kind of a cowardice move if you ask me. Is it also because I too am on the autism spectrum? I think it's a mix of both. I feel like it is, but hell with it, I suppose. Also, I think it might partially be my fault for uploading that video and making it at least a year or 2 or 3 late after the drama was over. Again, I know I'm slow. I have learned my lesson. I have a better upload schedule now. Leave me be! And you are right that Amy-chan wouldn't have made that comeback she made when you left the platform you two created. But she's long since moved on from ranting, and you were also the part of the reason as to why she went on that hiatus. And if you didn't want the information of you being dubbed as the quote-unquote crazed silver fangirl to be out there in the public that Amy stated in her interview with Dumbsville, then maybe you should have reflected on your actions before yelling and screaming at Amy the way you did the day you cut ties with her for whatever petty bullshit reason you had. Was it with her not agreeing to the Melody video you made? Was it her distancing herself from you because she's a life outside of the internet and you haven't been chronically/terminally online all the time? We don't have a recorded call or screenshots, so we'll never know what actually happened. We only have the testimonies and statements and red flags of you throwing Amy-chan under the bus for whatever petty reason you had with her. If you didn't want the drama to happen in the first place that led to your downfall, then maybe you should have taken a page out of Amy's book and not have done the things you did and moved on from ranting and raging at people the way y'all did once upon a time.
These nuts.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Real mature. And here I thought I'd get a more pleasant ending. But hey, it's the unfortunate community Ruth had built up back in the early 2010s when she and Amy-chan first began DA ranting on Jane and Brandon, and is still stuck in that mindset. Most people in the commentary and or ranting communities are unfortunately stuck in their middle school/high school mindsets, and that's a reality we all must face, unfortunately. Now, I'll be honest, this video wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, I didn't get Ruth yelling and screaming at me like she did in her past videos, so that's a plus. And while I only paid attention to Ruth's parts of the video and not Moondisc's, they had some valid criticisms. But there's also a lot wrong with this video too. The fact that Ruth does not take any responsibility for her actions at all in regards to the drama involving Jane, Brandon, Melody, any and all the dramas she was a part of, her off-putting behaviors, her admittedly concerning obsession with Silver and hate boner towards Blaze, And the self-projection from Jane because she saw herself in Jane, and maybe Brandon as well, and became the very same people she hated. And the fact that she sees nothing she did was wrong is already telling. As well as the condescending tone she and Moondisc both have in regards to my video. At the time when the drama was happening, Ruth was rightfully called out for not seeing how her fans reacted and treated those she made videos on, such as Jane and Brandon, and even Melody. Victim blames Amy-chan for not wanting their friendship to end because they've been friends for years since they were 13. And Ruth is one who cut her off, yes, but she also screamed and yelled at her knowing that Amy has anxiety and depression, and just didn't give a shit for how Amy felt, regardless of who ended the friendship in the first place. Throws a bitch fit over a fictional character and someone having an opinion on said fictional character, throws tantrums over the smallest things she's been called out for, has a rules for thee but not for me, and the my way the highway gatekeeping mentality we've all seen one too many times before. Yes, Amy, Dumpsville, Melody, Jane, and Brandon have all done wrong in the past as much as Ruth, if not less or more, but the difference is they owned up to it. Ruth did not. She doesn't take responsibility for her actions, doesn't care about anyone else's feelings but her own, is still the condescending, snarky little brat she's been since her start on YouTube, is an overall toxic friend, and believes everyone is at fault for their actions but her. Despite what you may think, and despite me not knowing anyone in these dramas involving Sonic93, and me deeming her as a bad person, she's not as bad as people like Chris Chan, Nick Bates, Kira the Wolf, or dare I say Lyle Convoy and Hopeless Peaches. I mean, she didn't drop the R-bomb on people equivalent to Rosemary Ramsey, or threaten to call someone's abusive parents to have the victim abused more. At least, not to my knowledge beyond that. While she is a bad person, I still don't deem her as irredeemable as Lyle, Chris Chan, or even Mama Max, for example. When she and Amy made those rants in regards to Jane and Brandon, they were teenagers. Her rant on Melody was when she was well past adulthood, and should have known better than to start shit over a fictional hedgehog character. And I believe, at the time those videos were made, she was 25! I didn't do shit like that when I was 25! But hey, that's Sonic fandom and ranting/commentary community for ya. Yay! Now, I will say this. Everyone was at fault during the Sonic93 drama, and I'm gonna be real here. That whole thing was a headache and a half. But we still owned up to our shit at some point or another in our lives. Ruth never fucking did! Amy and Dumpsville were upset by how Ruth treated them behind the scenes, and she dares throw them under the bus, and victim shames them, and turns around and says, I don't care, they were just as bad as I am, and they weren't there for me when I needed them the most after I abandoned them. Dude, you've got some serious issues to work out. Is it good that Ruth left the internet? Well, it depends on who you ask in regards to that question, but I would say yes. If she is working on herself in regards to her struggles, trying to get therapy, and going to a psychiatrist to work on her personal flaws, finding new hobbies and fandoms and characters outside of Sonic the Hedgehog and Silver, and moving on from all that, and getting a job, be it outside of her house, or having a work-at-home based job, etc. And if she decides to come back, I'm sure some of us would welcome her with open arms, but I'm gonna be real here, I don't think the day's ever gonna come, and she should stay away from the internet for her own personal safety and well-being. But regardless, if you do return or leave, it doesn't matter if you stay or go, hate is going to follow you everywhere and anywhere, no matter who you are, or what you did, or how much you've improved on yourself and your content. Sometimes you just gotta learn to deal with it, and ignore the haters, and try your damnedest not to start drama. Unless someone else starts it first, like slandering you for something that is basically not true, then that's a different story. At the end of the day, it's Ruth's choice whether or not she wants to come back and start fresh, and actually owned up to what she did and said in the past, and how she treated those around her. But after watching this video, despite the valid critiques given, it's honestly for the best that Ruth stays gone. It's clear as day she hasn't changed a bit given what we've seen in her collab with Moondisc, And if she somehow or another comes across this video, it's for the best that you stayed away. Insert has been hotel song joke here. Funnies aside, I figured I jumped on this opportunity seeing as nobody else did in the first place. And despite what I think of Ruth, I'm still hoping she is taking her retirement from online to self-reflect and get help for whatever struggles she's facing. Regardless of my opinion on her being a bad person, a terrible human being, yes. Irredeemable? Not necessarily. If she craves improvement, I say go for it, girl. If not, then there's nothing I can do for ya. Again, no shade to Moondisc in regards to all of this. Only skim through to focus on Ruth's parts of your video. Whatever criticisms you had are just as valid, and I aim to work and improve on my content and my own personal flaws in general, in regards to what is mentioned in the video, that is. Also, be sure to check out his videos in regards to the Sonic93 drama and interviews with people involved in such. I'm hoping and slightly sure he's actually a chill dude behind that computer screen. And don't forget to check out other videos and links in the description below. That being said, I'll see you in the next one, and enjoy me singing Has Been Hotel's Stayed Gone as an outro to this video, because I'm exhausted. This is almost 12 freaking pages, and I don't feel like talking anymore. I'm gonna go lie down now, bye. Welcome home. I'm gonna make you wish that you'd stayed gone. Say hello to a new status quo. Everyone knows that there's a brand new dawn. Turn the TV on. Top of the hour and discussing a certain has-been who has been sporting cavorting around town. After a 7-year absence, did anybody miss him? Did anybody notice? More on tonight's program. So the radio demon is back in town. Why is he hanging around? What does that mean for your family? Well, Handley, I got good news. He's a loser, a fossil, and I don't mean to sound hostile, but the demon is a coward. You can take that as gospel. Pulling my viewers impossible. On visual, he's barely audible. Stop giving him the time of day. Don't listen to a word he'd say. I hope he had a nice vacay, but he should have stayed away. Well, he hid in radio. We pivoted to video. Now his medium is getting bloody rare. Hell's been better since he split. Where's he been? Who gives a shit? Salutations. Good to be back on the air. Yes, I know it's been a while since someone was styled true to hell to a broadcast. Sinners rejoice! What a dated voice. Instead of a cloud-chasing mediocre video podcast, his Vox is secure pursuing a lure. Fiddling between this fad and that. Is nothing working? Ignore his chirping. Every day he's got a new format. You're looking at the future. He is the shit that comes before that. Is Vox as strong as he purports? Or is it based on his support? He'd be powerless without the other V's. And here's the sugar on the cream. He asked me to join his team. I said no, and now he's pissy. That's the tea. You old-timey prick. I'll show you suffering. Uh-oh, the TV is buffering. I'll destroy you, you little... I'm afraid you've lost your signal. Let's begin. I'm gonna make you wish that I'd stayed gone. Tune on in when I'm done. Your status quo will know its race is run. Oh, this will be fun.